Would you want to see the draft kind of become, I love the event, I love, obviously I think the event's necessary. What if it became more like the baseball draft where these franchises take these guys knowing that they're not going to contribute, or even the NHL where they know these guys aren't going to contribute for a year, 2 years, 3 years. We have some sort of, academy pathway structure for every team where they go and they play and they hone their craft for a couple of years, and then you start seeing their names pop up, a little later down the line. I don't know if it would necessarily work because some of these guys are already 23 years old when they're coming into this draft process and on the rugby side of things. But maybe maybe that's the way to go if they don't start seeing some immediate impact from these guys right away.
I don't know how much age would have to do with it. I feel like rugby players can generally play for longer periods of times in comparison to other sports. Like, I don't know, a 23-year-old playing for the club affiliate of Rugby United New York for a few years until he's 26, 27, he might be in the prime of his career at that point to really make an impact for the team. So I don't know. I don't see why not. I think that would be a good option.
I was talking to friends about this in 2020, and I feel like, one area where MLR maybe missed the mark is the sense that it's great the draft we're doing. It's great that, we're kind of comparing it to other sports. We're doing it that same traditional format that other sports do it. But MLR really had an opportunity in a sport that, again, we've been saying in all this episode that there's not a lot of information on players. You don't really need an order. There's no that real way to tell who's the best team in the country. You should have kind of gone out of your way and did something totally different. Let teams petition. These are the list of 4 guys that we want to take in. But, instead of making an order, be like, hey, Dallas has 7 picks. NOLA has 6 picks. You come in, you tell us those 6 players that you want to bring into your team, and, do something untraditional. I think, MLR has to find ways. Granted, it's great that they're growing and they're growing exponentially, off the backs of how other sports have done it in this country. But certain time with this sport, if this sport's going to really have an impact in this country, it's going to be finding those little ways that they can be different. And the draft is a perfect opportunity for that. Just because we have such a wide range of athletes, such a wide range of schools to choose from, they don't need to copy MLB. They don't need to copy the NFL. So I hope as more information comes, they also realize that it doesn't need to just be a 3-round draft where each team has these orders. We can do it a little bit different, and maybe it becomes even more entertaining to watch and kind of better to track these players through their career.
Well, that's my question, Josh, is how would you televise something like that? I mean, the reason I think, yes, the draft is great for these players, but the MLR does it, I think, mostly, to try and get some eyeballs on their product. And the standard draft format is just easier to run through as a television product. I guess I'm not against your idea. I think it'd be fun to do something creative, but you'd have to come up with a whole brand new way of televising it and then pitch that to networks, who possibly would want to televise that product, who are used to it being a certain way.
If I knew, I would say MLR hire me, but I don't know. But at a certain point, you got to be willing to take a little bit more risk. And I think this is like the draft is like a perfect example. I mean, look at the NBA, like moving it right after, we're moving it like right after the finals. We're trying to just build up the hype. The NBA is a kind of an organization where it's like they're not afraid to take risks. Granted, they're a multi-billion-dollar industry. They can take risks because people are going to love them anyways. But same with the MLR. It's like, you want people to watch, make it interesting, make it new. Like, you don't have to always take the traditional route. And I think if you fail one year, it's only the 3rd draft. We're going to, hopefully 10 years from now, we're going to look back at this draft and be like, oh man, that sucked. So I'd hope. It'll just be cool to see. I just want them to kind of, keep trying new stuff, make it interesting for these players. Collegiate Rugby Shield, I can't say enough about it. It was an amazing experience to watch. So much cool. So I think a great experience for the players. Keep doing stuff like that. Keep making all these like little things that make this draft more exciting and make it more exciting to watch MLR when the season starts again.
Josh, low key, great point. But you low key just tried to get a job with MLR.
I hire him anyway, MLR. You put him in a room.
Hire him anyway. He's on to something.
I'll put my resume in the description of the podcast.
Yeah, you gotta watch. You gotta listen to the whole thing, MLR, if you want to hire Josh. But it's worth it to get to the end. It's worth it.